The Mavic 2 Pro has been the flagship model of the Mavic line for many years, in an industry where technology moves extremely fast. In this video I will put it head to head with the Mavic 3, the new top-of-the-line model. I will only compare them in terms of photo quality and features useful for photography. In a few days I will release another video about footage quality. In the Mavic 3 there are plenty of new features compared to the 2 Pro, but the majority of them are useful only for shooting video. For users interested in photography, the most interesting new features are the following. The first one is sensor size. Mavic 3 has a 1/3 of an inch sensor, much bigger than the 1-inch one of the Air 2S. The photo resolution of the two models is the same at 20 megapixels. So the Mavic 3 should have better capabilities for capturing light, therefore produce better results in high dynamic range situations and in low light, with more info retained in the shadows. This feature is therefore related to image quality, and it is something we will find out in this video. Another useful feature of the Mavic 3 is the much longer battery life. It is much more relaxing to be able to shoot images for almost 30 minutes without any stress. Longer battery life for photographers is very handy, but probably not a crucial reason for an expensive upgrade. But for someone who shoots a lot of time-lapses and hyperlapses, this feature is life-changing and certainly worth the upgrade. Somehow DJI managed to maintain the weight of the new model below 900 grams, versus 907 for the 2 Pro. Size matters, as the 900 grams threshold is quite important for European users, as it translates into more relaxed regulations. The announced dynamic range of the Mavic 3 is 12.8 versus 12 for the 2 Pro, as we could expect by the larger sensor size and therefore bigger pixels. We will verify it later on in this video. Another major new feature of the Mavic 3 is the mystery object, the unfinished job, the telephoto lens. It has a half-inch sensor, a fixed aperture of f4.4 and can shoot photos at 12 megapixels resolution. The quality is obviously not the same as the main wide-angle camera, but I still find it a very useful tool for close-up images of subjects that we cannot approach, or for very interesting parallax effect with elements in different planes. At the moment there is no support for RAW files and no manual exposure. I hope that they will be added very soon. Some smaller benefits of the new model due to the 3 years difference technology are a more solid signal transmission, much lower noise level, more power and better wind resistance. There have been several rumors on social media about the tendency of the Mavic 3 to develop some Magenta cast on the side of fixed images. DJI is aware of the issue and is addressing it. It is not clear whether it is an issue on individual units or in all of them. This is my experience. If I post-process RAW file with a good dose of dehaze, contrast and extra saturation, there is a noticeable Magenta cast on both edges, if the sky is in the image. I can keep it more or less under control by not pushing dehaze and saturation, using some preset instead. I have the impression that after the latest firmware upgrade, things have slightly improved, but there is still some way to go. In this video I pushed color grading quite a lot, to show how bad the issue can get. Let me know in the comment below if you're experiencing the same issue. It is certainly annoying, but in a brand new drone this sort of things can happen, and I trust DJI to find a solution very soon. If you're finding this video interesting, don't hesitate to hit the like button. It really helps the channel by spreading the video more. I've tested the Mavic 3 at all different aperture values and the results were excellent. without any major degradation in quality at extreme values. Please refer to my video about photography with the Mavic 3 for more details. I will post a link at the end of this video and in the description below. With the Mavic 2 Pro I can detect just a touch of extra detail in the image taken at f5, especially compared to the one taken at f11, but it's not a big difference and this is a pretty good performance. Let's start with some top-down images where the sky is taken out of the equation and therefore the dynamic range is very limited. Under these easy light conditions, both models perform very well. There is a slightly different interpretation of color, a matter of personal choice. The light has slightly changed in the 2 minutes between the shots because of some clouds. By pixel peeping we notice just a touch of extra detail in the shadows with the Mavic 3, but that is understandable due to the bigger size of the pixels. All images were taken at about 3 minutes from each other. The light conditions were not the best, with a good deal of haze, but for the purpose of the comparison it is actually not a bad thing. All photos were obviously taken in RAW format and I added a good dose of color grading. Both models performs really well, and under these easy conditions there is not one that outclasses the other. In my opinion they are in the same league, and it is a matter of personal taste. So I'm not going to comment on each photo, but it would be really interesting to hear your opinion. Please let us know in the comment below which one you prefer. Let's move to something more challenging, shot in the direction of the sun, an area where traditionally prosumer drones used to struggle quite badly. Let's check the announced extra dynamic range of the Mavic 3 and see how Grandad behaves. Here the sun is to the left of the frame and it is reflected by big clouds that are therefore very bright, while the elements on the ground are obviously much darker. Both models handle this situation very well, but while editing the images I noticed that the Mavic 3 files contain more info, therefore I'm able to lift the shadows more without creating any noise. Now the sun is just at the edge of the frame. The 2 Pro performs very well without any flare or loss of detail near the sun, but the colors are not as natural as the one from the Mavic 3. And if I try to lift the shadows, a good deal of chromatic noise shows up in the darker areas. Without any doubt, the Mavic 3 is capable of handling a larger dynamic range. Now the sun is on the right edge before sunset, and things get much worse for the 2 Pro. Noise is now everywhere, and the image is beyond repair. There is a bit of noise in the one from the Mavic 3, but it is a level that can be easily removed using the excellent On1 Photo RAW. On1 Photo RAW is the program I've been using the last few months instead of Lightroom to organize my video files and post-process and organize photos. It has an excellent denoiser based on artificial intelligence that I have used for this video. You can watch my video about On1 Photo RAW by clicking on the link on the screen. In the description below you will find a link with a coupon discount code for this program. This time the sun is in the frame, although partially covered by clouds. With the Mavic 2 Pro the structure of the sky is beautiful, but once again there is too much chromatic noise in the shadows, while the Mavic 3 handles the situation to perfection. The good old 2 Pro puts up a remarkable performance. With any other prosumer drone from 3 years ago, I would not even attempt to shoot anywhere in the direction of the sun. But the Mavic 3 against the sun is in a totally different league and opens up new territories for prosumer drone photography, getting closer to full-frame cameras. While shooting at night with the 2 Pro, I had to push all the values so much more than with the Mavic 3 that I brought it back to check if I had forgotten to take away an ND filter. So I was not expecting great results. But once again the 2 Pro performed much better than expected. Very respectable indeed. Even though a bit of noise shows up in the shadows from time to time, the detail is nowhere near the one of the younger competitor, and there is a noticeable halo around the light sources. But the Mavic 3 with a bigger sensor handles low light like a piece of cake, simply astonishing detail and color rendition at any possible ISO value. This new DJI flagship model started a bit like a puzzle, but now that the pieces are coming together, the results are sensational in every department. With the next upgrade, DJI has to solve the issues with Magenta casting photos and add a few functionalities to the telephoto lens. After that, it will be the best prosumer drone in the market by a big margin. Click on this link to watch my in-depth video about photography with the Mavic 3. And don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video interesting.